Hey there, Bryan Rogala here. This is the 101. Today I'm going to show you how to fix a leaky sleeping pad. Okay, so first off, what do you need to fix your sleeping pad? Well, first and foremost, you need some water. I use just a spray bottle. You can also use a bathtub, a big bucket of water, depending upon the size of your pad. And some people like to use soapy water because you can see bubbles better, but we'll get to that in a few minutes. Moral of the story, you need some water. Number two, you're probably also gonna need some patches or some repair tape. Number three, and most importantly, you're gonna need some sort of seam grip, seam sealer, or textile glue. Now today I'm using Xped's textile glue that they sell with their pads because I'm gonna fix an Xped pad. But there's a product out there called Seam Grip that works really well. That's what I recommend you use. There's basically two situations here. One is that it's a big tear and you know where it is. In this case, you can sort of see right here. That's where the tear is, very visible. I think one of my dogs did this in the middle of the night. So once you locate the tear, the first thing you're gonna wanna do is use some of that seam grip, or in this case, the textile glue. Put it right over that before we put our patch on. We're just gonna sort of saturate that and let it cure for a few minutes. You do wanna have a little bit of air in the pad so the two sides don't get glued together. This tear is pretty big, so the seam grip or textile glue is not gonna totally seal up our leak, and that's okay because we're gonna put a patch on here in just a second once this thing cures. Okay, so we've waited our 5 to 10 minutes. The textile glue here is no longer tacky, it's kind of cured a little bit. And now what we're gonna do is cut out a fabric patch. We're gonna put it right over that tear, and that's gonna totally seal it up. You probably wanna let it cure for at least 8 to 10 hours before you sleep on it. But let's blow it up and see what happens, shall we? This pad wasn't holding any air at all. Now it obviously is. Well, I'm gonna deflate this a little bit, let it cure overnight, and it'll be good to go. Okay, now that's sort of the easy, quick patch when you know exactly where the hole or the tear is. What if you don't? Well, that's what's next. This is a much bigger pad, obviously. There's a little more to work with here. If this were a smaller sleeping pad, I could try to put this whole thing in the bathtub and submerge it in water, and then I could maybe find some air bubbles and that would help me isolate the leak. I don't have a bathtub big enough for this. So what I'm gonna use instead is a spray bottle with some water, and we're gonna see if we can hear it or see some bubbles. For the purposes of this video, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you I found this leak already. It's right at the one of the valves up here, up front. But I'm gonna show you how I found it. Watch this. So that hissing and whining noise is coming from the inflation valve. And what I did is I sprayed this whole pad down last night to try to figure out where the leak was, and I found it. It's coming right from the top of the inflation valve here. It seems that the valve itself is separating a little bit from the pad. You can tell when you move the valve around a little bit that the whining stops. So it's a very slow leak, like I said, and it's coming from right there. This repair is a little bit different than our last repair. It's not exactly a cut or a tear. You can't really see the hole, and that's where that seam grip, or in this case, the Xped textile glue, comes into place. This stuff is basically just gonna seal up those tiny microscopic holes and pretty much totally fix our problem. So we're gonna do kind of the same thing. I'm just gonna apply a bunch of the textile glue right around where I heard that noise and saw some of those bubbles coming up. And then we're gonna do that 3 times, basically give it 3 different coats, let those cure for about 5-10 minutes each, and we should be good to go. All right, that's our first layer. We're gonna let that cure for a few minutes, and then we'll do the second one. All right, great, that's been about 5 or 10 minutes. We can tell because it's no longer tacky. So we're gonna go ahead and put on our second layer of textile glue. You wanna make sure to keep both valves open so that air's not trying to escape as you are putting on the glue. Go ahead and then let that one cure for another 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so that's our third coat of textile glue right around the valve there. That should totally take care of the leak. It'll be dry here in just another few minutes, but to reach the maximum bonding strength, you want to give it 8 hours to cure before you sleep on it or rest anything on it. So hopefully that helps you out if you've ever wondered how to fix a sleeping pad. Winter's a great time to do this stuff before you need to use those pads again come camping season in the spring and summer. Have fun out there.